Greetings, everybody. David here, and what better location to record a chess video than a hotel room at a chess tournament? Here I am in a beautiful hotel room, and we are at an unusually beautiful location here by the beach. It's the Sunway Sitges International Chess Tournament, and today I have a very important video, to me at least, and hopefully for many of you. While chess has given me so much in life, you can see my other video on the subject of the greatest things I've gained from chess, I've also suffered in some ways and witnessed many others suffering because of chess. What chess player has never asked themselves during a game, why am I playing chess? What chess players never suddenly come to their senses in the middle of the night, dizzy and miserable from unsuccessfully chasing their lost blitz rating points online for hours? Chess players have cried, stabbed themselves in the head with pens, kicked holes in hotel room walls, and driven others insane with their long-winded laments about games that got away. So I wanted to discuss with my dear fellow chess players the major dangers of chess. By doing so, I think we can dramatically improve our chances of avoiding or mitigating them. There are, as I see it, three major dangers of quite different origin, allowing chess to trap many different personality types. One comes from our ego, another comes from our pleasure, and another comes from our inquisitiveness. The first danger is wanting to win every game and be better than every other person. There exists, in my mind, both healthy and unhealthy competition in this world. The competition in chess appears to many to substitute for the question of who is smarter. You put two brains together and you just find out which one is better. And that's what it sometimes feels like, and that's why when people get into chess competitions, it so often directly touches their egos. It's why many people are afraid to go and play in their first chess tournament, or why people will play online against bots and not against other people, because they don't want to have some kind of decisive result handed down on the value and quality of their brain or their being. So this engages the egos of a lot of people. They want to prove their greatness or their superiority or even their adequacy, And these players become wrapped up in their results and their ratings, often comparing themselves endlessly to other players, records, etc. How long did it take X player to get from 1200 to 1400? What's a good starting rating? How far should I be after 3 years? Is 3 months too long to be stuck at a plateau, etc., etc., etc. And generally, only one player out of every 10 years will have the opportunity to prove their overall superiority, right? Potentially leaving millions of chess players to be tormented by their disappointed hopes and wounded egos. This kind of suffering is even available to those who are less concerned with being better than others, but simply compare themselves to themselves, striving to become better and to do their best. Even with that sort of, I think, healthier parameter, you'll still find a lot of people falling into the trap of raising their expectations at every good sign, every good result, and then being disappointed when that best performance does not become the new normal performance for them. And I remember so many times in my life walking around at chess tournaments, sort of taking a stroll and a pause from calculating for a moment and looking around and reflecting on how chess appeared to be not a zero-sum game or a positive-sum game, but a negative-sum game, meaning that the game was producing more sadness and disappointment than happiness. Like the losers were sadder than the winners were happy. In the case of draws, maybe sometimes both players are sad, or one of them sadder than the one who's happy about the draw, etc. You might have 1,000 players in a tournament and about 10 of them who are exceeding their expectations, maybe a few dozen meeting them, and 900 plus players who are somewhere between disappointed and despondent. In many ways, a healthy dose of optimism can help a player's performance, so like thinking like, I can play well, I can, figure this out, can be helpful in terms of your performance during a game. But our miscalculated expectations, in many cases spurred by the ego, the wanting to be great, set us up for disappointment. And thus the mass of chess players roils with displeasure, with jealousy over others' accomplishments, with if-only stories of missed greatness and stolen chances. There are two steps we can take to reduce this mass suffering. The first is to thrash our ego by recognizing the equal value of our opponents. Like us, like you, your opponents, they are lovers of the game. They've spent days and nights chasing the truth of positions. They have fought for and represented their favorite openings. They've placed their hopes in cunning traps and worked and sacrificed to arrive at the board where you're meeting them now. The universe is generally indifferent whether you win or your opponent wins, right? And you should be more or less indifferent as well. Sure, play your heart out for the win. Like, try to find the best moves the whole time as you're playing. Bring the best of yourself and hopefully match it with the best of your adversary. Enjoy your fruitful, focused time together. But then who cares who won? Your opponent's happiness and success are perhaps just as valuable as yours. And if that's something that you don't immediately understand, I invite you to reflect on it some more. So I think it's a very, very important thing for us to realize, and a lot of chess players don't. Okay, your opponent is a person like you. Their happiness has value, equivalent to yours perhaps, right? Okay, the next thing we can do is manage our expectations. And this is a very valuable tool throughout life, not just chess. Basically, disappointment equals reality minus expectations. Your disappointment is the discrepancy, right, between what you expected and what you got or what you had. If you set your expectations low enough, which is something that I generally do, I set expectations really low. If you set your expectations low enough, you cannot suffer disappointment, except in the case of CEOs and heads of states who will, quote, slither under no matter how low you set the bar. But in general, in your life, if you set your expectations low, you won't be disappointed. You can have ambitious hopes and goals and at the same time have reasonable expectations or tempered expectations to protect yourself from this kind of ego-driven suffering. Okay, the second danger I want to talk about is the pleasure we get from chess. This can be a dopamine hit from raising a puzzle or blitz rating. It can be the joy of watching the poetry in motion of well-coordinated pieces, or the enjoyment of the sensation of flow when our focus is pure. Chess offers, a lot of pleasure and some different pleasures. Anything that offers pleasure has the danger of being addictive. Of course, I'm not from the school of thought that all pleasure should be avoided. I'm not saying you should never have fun, right? I mean, chess, love, discovery, great food, a high. For all we know, the enjoyment of all these things might be the purpose of life. I don't think any of us really know, but I wouldn't advocate, destroying all our joys and pleasures, right? But I do think it's useful to have control of ourselves and enjoy things responsibly. I think the most dangerous are the quick hits from blitz and bullet games, from puzzle rush, from really quick, easy things, because we can see just from the data of how people use chess websites and what activities they engage in and so forth, we can see that these are the activities in which people frequently get trapped, in which tons and tons of time is spent. And it's much more rare, right, to hear somebody saying, oh, I played more classical games than I had intended to. I wanted to play a weekend tournament, and before I knew it, my month had disappeared, right? That doesn't happen. But blitz and bullet players will often play much longer than they intended to and feel regret afterwards. So here are my proposed remedies to the addictive pull of chess. One is ensure that you have more than one source of pleasure in your life. Okay, not just chess. It is natural that when we find a person who completes us or an activity that makes us happy, that we run with that. It's working, so we just go with it again and again. But it's a mistake to create an over-reliance like that. That person or activity may not always be there. We could become one-dimensional. So I really advocate diversifying your life. If there are other things you can imagine enjoying, then chess addiction can't take as strong a hold. The next suggestion I have is to slow down the time controls you play. You'll be moving closer to doing something that's hard and rewarding and farther from easy hits. In other words, you'll be building up some skills and positive character traits and not falling into weakness. This will allow you to respond better to any adversity you face, whether that be addiction to chess or something else. At the same time, for various practical reasons, it is harder for classical chess games to invade every minute of your day, steal all your free time from reflection, etc., keep you from focusing on other activities because you can only think about the next chance to slink away for a few minutes to hit one, right? A classical game, it just doesn't pop up like that. It doesn't fill the little cracks. My third suggestion is regulate your time. Set parameters for yourself the way a parent would for you if you were not an adult. The way a child is told, you can watch one movie this weekend or you can eat 2 cookies for dessert or whatever. That's your job now, to lay out these parameters for yourself in your life. And if you set them and then find that you can't stick to them, then you know that indeed you are struggling. That means you need to strengthen your resolve in the face of the danger and maybe talk to friends. That can be helpful when you know that you're struggling with something. The third danger is the rabbit hole of inquiry which chess presents. Most humans are naturally curious, and chess offers an essentially infinite area for us to explore. You can play, analyze, solve puzzles, read books, study courses, videos, discuss your ideas with other enthusiasts. Personally, I could never reach a point where I would have exhausted all the questions that I have about chess. So the existence of chess on its own ensures that I would never be bored in 1,000 years. But like satisfying our ego or our appetite for pleasure, satisfying our curiosity can cause us to disappear into chess and lose other important aspects of life. One educational framing of chess that I heard a lot when I was young was that it develops in us skills and qualities which we can then apply to other fields. But what if we stay stuck in chess and never apply ourselves to anything else? What use then are those skills that we've developed, right? Okay, 2 remedies present themselves here. The first one I love, and it's a periodic analytical check-in on what you're doing with your life. What are the things that are important to you? Is there anything that you want to do with your life that you're not yet doing? What's keeping you from doing so? This obviously can help beyond chess, but it's one way to notice if you have fallen into that trap of too much chess crowding out the rest of your life. And then the second one is similar to a remedy I've already proposed above, right? Which is figure out some reasonable time limits in advance and then stick to them. Yeah, just like set some time. Like in advance, you say, how much time would I like to spend on my entertainment portion of my life, right? How much time do I want to spend on chess? How big a piece of my time do I want that to be? And you figure it out reasonably, and then you go with it. All right. I'm looking forward, of course, to hearing what all of you are going to say in the comments and what thoughts you have. I hope that this will be helpful for people. And to every one of you who's listened this far, I just want to say, from our shared love of chess, I feel a sense of kinship and affection for you. I hope that you're enjoying our game to the fullest, and I hope also that you will successfully navigate the 3 dangers. All right, till next time, this is David signing out. Have a great day.